You will never know when it is the end of the world, but there will be signs. And one recent sign is Vanguard are increasing their fees. It's not actually that bad, but a lot of people will end up paying more fees. So in this video, let me tell you first of all what the details are. I'll then tell you the exact maths and numbers of it. I'll pull together a nice little Google sheet to show you exactly how all the numbers will work out and how much extra you'll pay, if anything at all. And then finally, there's some other stuff on Vanguard's website and in the press. So yeah, we're gonna cover all of that in this video. So this is the email I got from Vanguard. Upcoming changes to our terms and conditions. And essentially what they say is for clients who use DIY, stock and shares ISAs, SIPs, and general investment accounts, so this doesn't impact junior ISAs, they're essentially from the 31st of January introducing a £4 a month minimum account fee. So that's £48 a year on any people who have total invested balances across all those accounts of less than £32,000. You know, listen, I've been using Vanguard for years. I'm a big baller. I've got £55,000, so this obviously doesn't impact me. That's the end of the video. Thank you for watching.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
No, I'm obviously joking. There's also one other change as well, which this is on their website now, but the managed ISA fee is going down. So that's actually being cut by 33% from 0.3 to 0.2%. I don't personally use this, but if you do, you'll get a 33% cost saving. But then obviously a lot of people will be negatively affected who are DIY investors because their fees will be going up. So back to Vanguard's email. So there's also a few other changes, but the main one really, as you can see now on the screen, is that previously it was 0.15%, and that's capped at £375 a year. So essentially you're a big baller and you've got £250,000 invested, then that's £375, and anything after that you don't pay any account platform fee on. But from the 31st of January, that's now going up to £4 a month, so £48 a year. So as you can probably work out, and I'll show you the maths in 1 second, if you have a smaller pot, only a few thousand, you're gonna pay a massive fee, relatively speaking. There's a few examples. I'll leave this on the screen for a sec. You're gonna pause it and have a quick read through it. There's then, the next bit is changing how we collect your account fees. Let me come back to that. There are some other changes, but let me pull you into now my handy Google sheet that I've came up with. So as you can see, the old system was 0.15% per year. The new system is £4 per month if you have less than £32,000 invested. So on the left, you can see, depending on what your total portfolio value is across your general investment account, your SIP, and your stocks and shares ISA, you can essentially see the difference. So previously everything was at 0.15%. And of course you can see that goes up steadily as the amount invested goes up, whereas now it's a flat £48. So what does that actually mean? Well, if you look to the right, previously you were of course paying 0.15%, but now on the new system, particularly on smaller amounts invested, so really £10,000 or less, you're actually paying a massive fee. Of course, in absolute terms, £48 isn't that much, but when it comes to investing, it's useful to think in percentage terms, and you know, a 10% fee, if you only got 500 quid invested, is a monster fee to pay. Particularly when other providers have rock bottom fees, and we're gonna come on to that in a sec. But yeah, so you can see here, there's also another big difference. Realistically, when you get to probably when you get to sort of £20,000, the actual marginal difference, 0.09%, isn't really that much. But I'd say anything probably, even £10,000, £15,000, the platform fee you're gonna pay, relatively speaking, 0.48% is pretty big, and that's actually bigger than most other providers. Of course, when you then get to £32,000, it then is essentially 0.15%, and then you're back on the old system. So going back to the email, Vanguard are clear that you'll only pay one or the other. So if you've got less than 32k, you'll pay the £4 a month. If you've got more than 32k, you'll pay the 0.15%. I'm going to come on to shortly what this actually means for you and what you should do. But if I keep scrolling down through this email, they're also changing how we collect your account fee. To be honest with you, I personally, this is all irrelevant for me because I have a direct debit. So my fees actually come out of my bank account, my UK current account, to pay the Vanguard fee. So if you do that as well, this change will unaffect you. And to be honest with you, if you don't have them coming out your current account, I would suggest setting up. Personally, I would rather than manually adding cash to my Vanguard account, or rather than them taking the fees from my actual investments and my holdings, I would much rather just pay the cash out of my own money. Right now, if you don't have a direct debit set up, then this will obviously impact you. There's also another change about withdrawals, and all this essentially says, you can pause it again if you want to read it properly. Essentially, if you do switch out of Vanguard, they'll just take any fees that are owed first, because even though the platform fees paid quarterly, they work it out daily. So essentially, we'll work out the fee you owe them, work out the interest they owe you if you have any cash sitting on the platform, and then then you'll switch to another platform. So why are they making these changes? Can you believe it? It's because of the cost of living. Essentially, higher costs, unsurprising, means that they've had to increase the fee. What are your options? Close your account, transfer your balance to another provider, or simply just leave it there. And if you've got more than 32k invested, as I mentioned, this change will have no impact for you. There, of course, though, is big benefits if you're using the managed ISA, because your fees are actually coming down by 33%. This link here is also from Vanguard's website and has some more examples and a bit of reading. To be honest with you, I've given you all the main information, but if you do want to read through in more detail, I'll also link this down below. What should you do? Well, there were some interesting articles in the press. So as you can imagine, if you just Google Vanguard fees UK, there's a load of articles. Of course, I've clicked through them and read them all and found the best bits just for you. So it's probably actually worth looking at this Investors Chronicles one first. And you can see Vanguard always pride themselves on being the lowest or one of the lowest fees. Now, they're actually not the lowest. So if you have, as I sort of showed you already, £15,000 there and thereabouts, your fees are going to increase. So now Vanguard isn't actually as cheap as AJ Bell. This graph also doesn't include Trading 212 and Invest Engine, which already had lower fees than Vanguard, and now that gap has widened even more. There's also a useful article from the Financial Times, which I'll link down below, but they essentially say how with Vanguard, if you have 10 grand, you'll pay 70 quid a year, which is now more expensive than AJ Bell and Hargreaves Lansdown. Of course, there's not the absolute amount, as I mentioned, isn't much. £3 difference to Hargreaves Lansdown, £23 difference to AJ Bell, but it's important to look at your fees as a percentage. So as going back to the maths again, if you only got 500 quid invested, you're paying an absolute massive fee under this new system. So that is everything you need to know. That is the maths behind it and what the press is saying. What should you actually do? It's actually hard for me to say this because I'm such a big fan of Vanguard and I've been using them for over 6 years now. But realistically, if you have less than £10,000 invested, it probably doesn't make much sense to use Vanguard just because your percentage fee is going to be so high. Even at £10,000 of total money invested on Vanguard UK's platform, your actual percentage platform fee will be 0.48%. Which is pretty big when you look at Trading 212 or Invest Engine, who have a 0% platform fee. If you have probably £15,000 plus, the actual marginal fee isn't really going to be that much, and I'd say it's an immaterial difference. And of course, if you have more than £32,000, like yours truly, big baller, I know, as I record this in my bedroom, then yeah, there's no change for us, for you, so we haven't got to do anything. I understand increasing fees to cover increased costs, but where the industry has been coming down for so long in the fees, and Vanguard have always prided themselves on low fees, it's not ideal and it's not the best look for them. Particularly when you got, as I mentioned already, Trading 212 and Invest Engine just banging out low fees constantly. Yeah, this one did take me by surprise, but I thought I'd make a quick video on it, get on the trend, hopefully get to the top of the YouTube searches to get the views in. But let me know what you think. Are you going to switch away from Vanguard? Are you unaffected and going to carry on using them? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'll leave some useful links down there as well. Thanks for watching.